That's it.
Well, plus we've got news out of Miami as well that we're going to touch on. But welcome to Good Morning Football. Last hour of the day for us. We are live here in New York City. It is Wednesday, August 3rd. My name is Jamie Erdahl. That's Kyle Brandt. That's Peter Schrager. That's Super Bowl champion Jason McCourty to my left. That whole who'd you meet, who's famous conversation led us to who's the most famous phone number in your contacts. But it's also your contact list. It's also tricky because you also don't want to reveal that. But who do you think is your most famous person?
Oh man. You have someone more famous than Tom?
You don't want to, than Tom.
Devin
Probably Tom.
McCourty.
Devin McCourty. Well done.
Yeah, mine's Mark Grillo right here. Take that.
That's our producer.
I'll go Jason McCourty. I'll go Jason McCourty now. Maybe Mike Garafolo. I finally saved his number after doing a few shows with them. All right. It's time for the lead block.
Lead block.
All right, we're going to head out to the West Coast where Deebo Samuel got his new deal inked this week. He spoke yesterday to the media about how his extension finally got done and some of the rumors that have been circulating this offseason about the nature of that contract.
At the end of the day, this is a business. So what changed was the communication. The more we communicated, the more we started to figure things out.
One of the narratives this offseason was that you were upset with how you were going to be used. Can you address that, whether that's correct or not?
That is false. There's a lot of things that came out that I want to speak on, but at the end of the day, I wasn't allowed to. So, I mean, you can turn on the tape, go back to the Cowboys game. It kind of shows what kind of player I am. And also, I mean, you can go turn on the Pro Bowl tape and like what I said about being a wide back, I don't mind, you know what I'm saying, doing whatever it takes for this team to win.
Were a lot of teammates in your ear? Or just checking in on how you were doing?
Oh, yeah. Trey, of course. He was definitely calling here and there. I was like, yo, Deebo, how you doing? I'm like, I'm good, bro. And he was like, what's going on? I was like, bro, we'll figure it out. Whenever we figure it out, we'll be back to work.
So that's got to feel good. They've got Deebo locked in. Trey Lance has been named the starter. A lot of changes, but it seems like a recipe for success. So what needs to happen for the 49ers to get back to the NFC Championship game this season?
Well, this time of year, I always talk about players or coaches that are pivotal. That's the word I always use. We know who the good players are. We know who the players who maybe aren't that good. There's those players that we don't know. We're going to find out. So I look at the top of that list. It's Tua, obviously. I think Mitch Trubisky with Pittsburgh. Alan Lazard with the Packers. Kevin O'Connell with the Vikings. But number one on the list of pivotal players about, oh, man, which way is this going to go is Trey Lance. And I think it has to go a certain way for the 49ers. Here's the good news. I don't think Trey Lance has to be great this year. I really don't. I think Trey Lance has to be pretty good. Maybe very good. I think Trey Lance has to have a 20-touchdown, 10-interception season, and the Niners can get to the Super Bowl because they're that loaded. The thing is, too, you look at this passing of the torch last year, allegedly, that the Rams finally got him, they got over. I don't know about that. I still think they have business. The Rams did finally beat them, but now there's not going to be just this sea change where Kyle Shanahan's going to lay down under McVay every single year. A lot of things had to go wrong for the Niners in that game to lose. No discredit to the Rams. They won, but I still think there's business here. If Trey Lance, who Kyle Shanahan looked at and said, you're the guy, Jimmy be damned, I am tossing you the keys with great players in their primes who we're not going to be able to hold on to all of them. If Kyle Shanahan feels that strongly, then he better be really, really good. But again, I don't think, Peter, he has to be Patrick Mahomes in his second year. I don't think he has to be close. They're that loaded and the coach is so good that if Trey Lance is like, yeah, he had a pretty good second season, they can get to the Super Bowl. The Niners are that loaded.
And that offense is all about the run game, and it's all about defense. The question is, can Lance take it a different direction where all of a sudden they're multiple and you're like, wait, oh, they have that aspect of this? Kyle Shanahan, since he's been with the Niners, he's had Garoppolo, he's had Brian Hoyer, he's had Nick Mullins. He's never had that type of athlete at quarterback. That's the hope, that he takes them there and above and beyond. But it's not going to happen right away. So to me, like, what needs to happen, they need to just stay afloat those first few weeks. Look at the first 6 weeks of the season here, because I do believe once he gets comfortable, Lance going to be okay. You look at this team, that is not a murderer's row. Like, they can win these games. They can go right now. Even with Trey Lance, the Rams, you can say, well, they're defending Super Bowl champs. That's a home game where San Francisco rarely loses to the Rams. Certainly with McVay and Shanahan. Shanahan has had his number. I don't think it's crazy that the Niners go 5-1 or 6-0 to start the season, and that's before Trey Lance even gets really comfortable. For them to get back, they need to take advantage of that first 6-game slate of teams with losing records and a Rams team that they've had their number. It was a really tumultuous offseason with the Garoppolo and with the Deebo stuff, but when all is said and done, we know who the starting quarterback is. Deebo's back. Bosa's going to get his. And you still have Eric Armstead and Fred Warner and Trent Williams. Like, they're a really good team. And I don't know if it's a huge drop-off from Jimmy, but I would say give him 6 weeks to get Trey Lance up to speed. And if they win those games, well, then it's house money and it's anybody's ball game.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I love the fact that you guys talked about Trey Lance taking over, the stuff that went on with Debo all offseason. And you mix that all together with when you have a good coach and you have a team that has a lot of success, coaches leave to go on to bigger roles. I'm going to put up a full screen right here of the coaching departures that they've had this past season. They have a lot of adjusting to do, and sometimes you can take for granted because, yes, Kyle Shanahan is still here, but there's the behind-the-scenes aspect. When you're developing a game plan week in and week out, everybody has a role, and you see right here, this is on the offensive side of the ball, and then they lost their special teams coordinator as well, but they have to replace a lot. And the one thing I saw that we watched kind of throughout the league, the New England Patriots have been wildly successful, and the Bill Belichick coaches have all left. And the toughest thing for Bill Belichick is beating those coaches that sat under your wing for so many years. In 2018, going down to Detroit to play a Matt Patricia-led Lions, beat up on the New England Patriots. Since Flo's been in Miami, the tank for Tua season. Late in New England, they beat those guys, and New England doesn't have a chance to get a first-round bye week in the playoffs. And then they beat New England twice last year under Flores. So that's going to be the challenge of losing all of those coaches, building that continuity within a staff that now it trickles down onto the players to get that success on the field.
Let me ask you, Brian Griese has never coached in the NFL. Never coached.
Now he's your quarterback's coach.
He is the #2 person in that room for Trey Lance. Good thing, bad thing as a player. What do you say about that?
That's a tough thing because I feel like there's so much that happens within a game. And yes, player and all, but now from the coach's side, having that headset on, communicating back and forth, that's one of the biggest things to me because during the course of a game, there's so many heated moments that when you're on that headset, coaches can't lose it. You have to have that experience of this is a guy that you've been in it with. So you know how to talk to one another because egos will come up on that sideline. You see it when you watch different guys in heated debates. That happens amongst the coaches too. You just can't hear it because they're cursing each other out on the headsets.
I feel like, cannot talk physically anymore about the quarterback situation and the wide receiver situation in San Francisco. We understand it's happening. It's a problem that needs to be fixed, and there is a solution there. Time will tell if it succeeds. The 49ers secondary is where I feel like if you step up, it completes a defense that already has Nick Bosa up front. This secondary is the one that had issues, especially down the stretch in the fourth quarter of that NFC Championship game. A dropped interception, it allows the Rams to get the ball back, take the lead, and it eliminates the 49ers from going on to the Super Bowl. That was just last year. They've had guys depart, they have players coming back that are healthy, but if you have a healthy secondary with the firepower offensively that's within your division, you have to be able to shore some things up. I'm fairly certain that when the 49ers play the Cardinals this year, both times they will be without DeAndre Hopkins. So if they can take advantage of that, of a Cardinals team without Hopkins, you know, they could be the difference maker.
They lost their slot defender. We talked about slot defenders.
Yes,
K'Wan Williams is no longer there as well. So
yeah,
good player.
Exactly.
Peter, you're like a house expert on McVay and Shanny and Kyle, and Cliff, rather. What's the state of that dynamic? Is McVay just on the top of the mountain right now?
And they kind of all have to nod their heads, but they want it. I mean, you know that Kyle Shanahan has been just brewing, listening all summer about how great the Rams are in this victory parade. When they're up 10 points and Jaquiski Tartt drops an easy interception, that could have put the game on ice. So much tumult for the 49ers this offseason with all the contracts. But like I said, at the end of the day, they've got their quarterback who they've wanted all along under center. Debo's out there. They're all going to be out there. And that game against the Rams, I don't think that's a sure thing for LA to just come right in as defending champions.
Absolutely. All right. So, as I've said, NFL Network is at training camps. They're all over the country. And so we're going to head down 95 from us and check in with the most famous person in my phone, NFL Network insider Mike Garafolo, who's in Ashburn, Virginia with the Commanders. And he's got quite the stance going up for that stand-up. I love it. It's true. Mike, what have you been hearing about how Carson Wentz and the Commanders have been doing so far at training camp?
Yeah, first of all, welcome back, Peter. Good to see you, my friend. Hope you had a nice trip out to the opposite coast. My man, I kept that seat warm for you. You were logged in the other day when I turned on the Surface. Didn't do anything that I could have done. Yay me. What a great teammate. Anyway, out here today, looking forward to seeing this Washington Commanders offense and looking forward to seeing Carson Wentz for the first time since I was covering him back in Philadelphia. He may have had a pit stop in between. You may have heard about it. But the big key for Carson Wentz is how much can he now get acclimated to to a new offense. Remember, it was Frank Reich's system. It was Doug Peterson's system. It's been all the same for him. So this is a new scheme. So some of these hiccups that you're seeing, some of these interceptions, they're not as panicked about here, or haven't been over the last couple of weeks and really months going back to the spring, because they know he's still getting acclimated to something that's completely new to him. And the other thing was they hadn't put on the pads yet. So finally they threw on the pads yesterday, and wouldn't you know it, all of a sudden the offense is starting to show out, and Wentz is starting to show out a little bit. That's because just talked to Ron Rivera on his way on the field real quickly here, and he said, yeah, we got offensive lines and pads. They can finally hit back. We're finally playing what's known as American football. So the offense showed out, but I did talk to one offensive player who said, yeah, expect that defense now to be fired up, because we got them pretty good in practice yesterday. So that's what I'll be watching. And as far as the defense goes, I talked about this earlier this week on the show. I said my breakout player in his second year, Jamin Davis, I'm looking forward to seeing what he's doing, because everything I'm hearing is that he's moving much faster. The former first-round pick, when his first year, was overthinking a little bit too much in the field. Didn't play as fast as he's capable of playing. Ron Rivera talking about him yesterday to the media, gushing about him and how he's more comfortable, seeing all the run fits, and being more comfortable up here allows you to play much faster with your feet down there. So he's what I'll be watching on the defensive side of the ball today.
Absolutely. He's another guy that's happy that they were able to put the pads on in training camp. Mike Garafolo, don't go away. Don't move your feet. We're going to go to break. We're going to come right back. We need more information from you. It's not just about the Commanders for you. You got to beat on the entire